We are Fortnite gamers, mobile players, paywall haters, entertainers, hot as lasers. Tell your neighbor, do a favor, you should subscribe, and you'll see more. Knightlightning, he's not lightning, so enlightening, not so frightening. Hit like, and you'll see more. Who farted? He's who farted, not faint-hearted, nor outsmarted. Let's get started.
Welcome back to Fortnite Gamers. We are going to be discussing the new characters that came into the game, some interesting hints that are going on with some of their kits. We're going to discuss what characters was farming and why, the big speculation of what's going to be coming into this game.
Not only that, we're going to tell you how Glue is going to fuck up this game in advance.
Check out the timestamps in the description below, and you can zip to your favorite part of today's conversation. Given all of these new characters that just dropped into the game, we have Cogsworth, we have Lumiere, who just came in. Also, Daisy, Goofy, and Donald just became farmable. So who are you farming right now?
So I may be a little behind in some of the things because, as we all know, I am completely free to play. Glue will never get any of my money. So I am focusing right now mainly on finishing up Gantu, Cobra Bubbles, who I'm finally making a dent in. I am finishing up in terms of currency usage for farming. I'm finishing up the Horned King. I'm working on Dash very slowly just because Dash is OP. And this is going to be an odd one, but I'm also farming Pete. Now, Knight, you've mentioned this before, but Pete had, even though he's not really a good character, he's got multiple tie-ins. He's both a Mickey and Friends character, and he is also a downtown villain, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, I always forget. Yeah, downtown villain. So he counts towards unlocking Zerg, and he counts towards the Mickey and Friends usage, which has double value. So that's where I'm focusing. I'm kind of doing the Lumiere Cogsworth every day, just because I'm curious to see what's going to happen.
Yeah. But
I'm not exactly pushing hard there, just because there's not enough energy, and especially it's double gear time right now. So that kind of deters spending extra energy on character shards.
Yeah, isn't it interesting how it seems like we always get these double gear drops right around the time it seems like you should be hustling for character shards?
Oh, that's planned. That's 100% planned, because they are trying to make sure that you have to spend money to get these base characters up to certain levels to unlock the more OP characters. It's a great strategy. Look, if I'm running this business and I didn't care about the players whatsoever like Glue does, I'd be doing the same thing.
They know how to make money in this game. That's for sure.
There's no question. They know how to make money. They don't know how to maximize their money, but they know how to make money.
Yes, I would agree with both of those statements.
And the only reason I clarify on they don't maximize is because if we take Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, they made it in such a way that you would get so close to getting that character that I go, what's $5 more? What's $10 more? Yeah. Glue doesn't quite do that yet.
Yeah, Glue really focuses on the 1% in this game.
Yes.
For sure. It's like that's all they want to go after. I'm doing something similar. What I'm farming right now, because I finished Horn King, I am farming the 5 characters that just came in. I'm farming Goofy, I'm farming Daisy, I'm farming Donald, I'm farming Cogsworth, I'm farming Lumiere. I feel like unless you are extremely pay to play or pay to win, you kind of have a choice right now for the most part. They're kind of teasing a new Mickey for sure that might completely revamp how some of our beloved characters interact. At the same time, they're also leading us in a different direction with Lumiere and Cogsworth, where, hey, Belle might be next, Beast might be next. These might be legendary characters, huge game changers. I mean, there's no way Belle or Beast come in this game and they're not going to be awesome.
I don't know. Beast, yes. But, like, so if we go through a logical progression of which characters are the best in this game,
okay,
and which characters are, like, have tendencies that lead to their powers, like,
okay,
you can understand Cobra Bubbles, let's take, for example. So we got him up on the screen.
Yeah.
Of course he's going to be a badass. He looks like a badass. If you see him in the movies, his skill set lends towards it. If we take Elsa, okay? Elsa, you watch the movies, Elsa's OP, even in the movies. So,
yeah,
of course, she's going to be good. Now, if we take Madam Mim, for example, Madam Mim was garbage in the movie, so she's garbage in this game.
That's
like,
fake news. That's not true at all. That's bullshit.
Madam Mim is arguably, with Tink having some usage now, Madam Mim might be the worst character in the game. Maybe I wouldn't go that far because Jack Skellington's pretty damn bad. But
yeah, Jack Skellington might.
She went from they suck, but they're not the worst tier to she just dropped to they suck tier.
Oh, jeez. You know.
Plus Merlin moved up too. Merlin has new usage too. So I'd argue she is number 2 worst in the game. Because
no,
I think
you can't compare them to Kronk or Yzma or Baloo.
Okay, no. So, okay, here, let me defend. Yzma has usage now because of contracts per heal. Yes. So she has value. So Yzma's moved up. I'd say Mim and Kronk are pretty equal to one another right now.
Oh, don't say it.
I would say that also with the raids and things like that and the tweaks, Hook is in the, they probably suck, but they don't quite suck Madam Mim level much.
Right. I think the raid has not been kind to Madam Mim because there's
I think the raid reaffirmed
kit that I can think of that's useful for the raid.
I think the raid reaffirmed everything I've been saying for a while, that she's trash. And that no one other than you actually has her to 6 stars who has not spent over $10,000 in this game.
Oh, man.
And she's not even cup tier where it's like funny to actually have had 7 stars, the character.
Well, while I want to disagree with you, the fact is the raid, there's like literally no benefit in her kit at all to her. There's no taunting enemies that you need to purge. There's not enemies in clusters where you can even spread harmful effects if you wanted to, and her passive doesn't work, so there's
her
not
only
a lot
value
I can say about it.
Her only value in the raid is cannon fodder. That's it.
Yeah, if you think Glut is about to do his insta kill, it's like, oh, let's get mad at him. Oh.
Exactly.
Oh, terrible. What?
You're trying to like desperately like, I'm gonna come up with something to defend her, and I just can't. My only defense is she's not quite Jack Skellington.
Terrible. Getting back to the new characters that came in, one reason I like Goofy's kit a lot. I think it's really cool. Donald's is interesting too. One reason I'm excited is because of this. I was really surprised when Donald originally came out that he had a leadership ability that gave benefits to Sensational Six and Duck teammates. But I read this and I think to myself, yes, it's cool, but there's no way that when Mickey comes out, he doesn't have a leadership ability. And my hope is that Mickey has a Mickey and Friends bonus in there.
So that's exactly what I was thinking is I'm expecting Mickey to have a dual tie-in leadership like Donald is. But I will say this, 20% offense is huge.
It is pretty
That's
good.
a big amount. So that's what caught me off guard more than anything is I expected to have some synergy between the two. I didn't expect them to have leadership. Don't get me wrong. I don't think like Donald's the leader.
And Scrooge could have a really good combination that way because it applies. Because Scrooge can do so much damage as it is, even after the nerf. So adding 20% to that could be crazy. But I look at potential. I think about potential Mickey benefits, Mickey and Friends benefits, and Pete does have this really cool move where he calls other characters to assist, and Goofy has it built into his kit to have people assist when he attacks, and Sorcerer Mickey has in his kit, his passive is built to assist. So there's a lot of assisting.
Let's cut Sorcerer Mickey out of this because Sorcerer Mickey is a glass cannon, and I don't think will last against those elite tier teams.
Right.
So they won't last against the Paul McCartneys. They won't.
Right, but remember, Goofy and Donald can taunt, so it's two characters out of Sensational 6 that are.
Yeah, but okay, but if you've got an AOE, you can kill Mickey off with an AOE pretty easily. That's what I do. Most of the time that I'm facing teams that still run the old Aladdin, Shan Yu, etc., Jasmine that have Mickey in there, I usually just pop Mickey off with my Paul McCartney team doing AOEs.
Yeah. But, I mean, the real reason I'm excited for Mickey to potentially give Mickey and Friends bonuses because of this cat right here, Big Bad Wolf.
So I want to go back on something. And this is something I've been thinking about. Maybe I just didn't watch the old cartoons that much. But Big Bad Wolf, what was the tie-in with Mickey? Like, I don't understand how he's...
I don't know. I don't really care. I'm just glad there's a potential tie-in. There's potentially some benefit. There might be some leadership ability out there that could actually benefit Big Bad Wolf as opposed to all the craptacular downtown villains bonuses out there right now.
And on top of it,
2% critical power or something.
How is Big Bad Wolf and Pete friends? Like, Pete was a douchebag 90% of the time until we got the Goof Troop to Mickey and Goofy. So,
well, maybe they're part of the douchebag troop. I don't know.
But I wouldn't call him a friend, and he's definitely not Mickey. So, I don't understand how he fits here.
I don't know. I don't know.
I think it's time Glue should pull out Big Bad Wolf from this group and just solve a problem.
Hell no. All right, so WhoFartd? Let's take a look at this. This is kind of a mystery that Glue has built into these kits. So both Cogsworth and Lumiere have passive abilities called Be Our Guest. And they're both oddly specific. So the last line of this on Cogsworth says, on this character or adjacent teammate receiving slow, 30% chance to cleanse slow.
Which, okay, that's nice. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Slow is a pain in the ass. But it's odd that A, that's such a low number, and B, that you essentially have a similar thing with Lumiere on that 30% skill set. So to me, it also screams that we're not just getting Belle and Beast, but we may be getting, let's just say, Mrs. Potts and Chip. And it's been a long while since I watched the movie, so I'm trying to remember the other ones.
Feather Duster or something like that.
Yes.
Or the wardrobe. Yeah.
Exactly. The wardrobe's already in the game, but I just think that there's more coming, because I think you wouldn't just pick slow and blind, which slow is a major issue, but blind's an arbitrary one now that you really don't deal with often in the meta as a major issue. So I think that we're going to have a bunch more characters that have different, let's call it, negative effects. This was a 30% cleanse.
I see. So, in other words, we might get 2 or 3 more characters. Okay, now you can't get, I don't know, critical chance down, or.
But this may be interesting for the raid, because if you have a character like Ursula, or you have a character like the eels that give poison. Mm-hmm. If you have, let's just say, Mrs. Potts, and Mrs. Potts has a 30% chance to cleanse poison, and you have Merlin, and you pop Merlin for tactics, then all of a sudden it's 100%, and you're no longer getting poisoned.
Well, yeah. Well, remember, just keep in mind, tactics doesn't work on passive abilities. So it's not like it's going to work.
I thought it does take into account passive abilities.
I wish it did.
Okay.
Yeah, we would be seeing different teams for sure.
I've so ignored Merlin for so long. I just assumed that he actually had something useful outside of the raids.
No. That unfortunately not. But it's nice that he has some use at all, which is nice.
Which vindicates you a little bit on having Merlin for the past 4 months 7-starred.
Yeah, exactly. But let me ask you this too, because these are oddly specific, and there is some blind mechanics in Ursula, the Ursula raid. I don't think there's slow, or if there is, there's not a lot of it, because I don't remember getting hit with slow. There's no slow mechanic that I've gotten hit with.
Exactly.
So it doesn't seem like
if it does exist, it's minimal.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like this is really built for the raid, but it's built very specifically. So it makes me wonder if there's another kind of event that might be coming that is really designed for these characters specifically to do well. Like you,
I don't think it's in a
small piece of a bigger anti-debuff or anti-harmful effect.
I don't think it's an event. What I think this is this is going to be part of new Mickey and Team's kit, so that this is going to be their answer. Because I think new Mickey's going to come out and be a complete ass kicker. So they have to have some parity. So I think that this is the answer to the Mickey ass kicker team.
Interesting. Here's an interesting thing to note. When at level 4, his cleanse is guaranteed for Beauty and Beast teammates. And the one character that's new that we haven't really talked about much is the person who is guaranteed to be part of the next meta. And that is this character right here, Ursula. There's no doubt that Ursula is going to be unbelievable. If not for this one passive where every single time she starts her turn and it's unavoidable, you're inflicting silence on a random opponent, which means it's going to bypass taunt. And you can feel magic.
Let's be honest. You unlock, if you do the heroic raid, 5 shards, all right? There's no character in this game that is useful and is able to stay alive long enough to be useful that at less than 6 stars. Okay?
I would argue 5. Because you have to remember something. You have to remember something. Now that tier 8 is a thing, a tier 8 5-star character isn't bad. And I'm speaking as someone who runs a 5-star tier 6 Jafar. Because Jafar is a unique case because I just need him to take 1 turn. And I will, as long as I can hit the right opponent at the right time, I can win the match with charm. but you just need Ursula. I don't know, if you tear her up enough, you can get this character staying alive. And maybe you just load her up with defense stones or health stones or something.
Okay. Either way, that means you have to beat the raid to start from scratch. Oh, you have to. It's 145. Sorry, to unlock her. So
That's
that
a
means
5-star character.
Yeah, 29. Okay, that's to get him to 5 stars. That's
Okay.
unlock at 5 stars her base. Okay, so that means you have to beat the raid 29 times. Okay, let's say the average heroic raid, once we start really kicking into it, takes 2 days. All right, and then it's another day of cooldown before you can launch the next raid.
You're looking at what, twice a week to be realistic?
So let's call it every 3.5 days.
Okay.
For twice a week. Okay?
Okay.
So that means
10 shards a week.
Call it 15 weeks.
Oh, yeah, that's a long time. Wow.
So that's if you have already started. That's 15 weeks from today. And that assumes you're beating it and you're keeping this cadence all the time.
Interesting.
If we follow a realistic time frame and say that the better clubs, not the super elites, but the better clubs will start heroic raid in, let's call it a month from now.
Yeah.
That means let's call it end of December. All right. So that means we're looking at March at the earliest to start seeing some Ursula unlocks. So it's a long while off. And on top of it, we're in a good club. Okay, we lost some key guys, but we're still in a good club. We are nowhere near heroic raid level. Okay.
Well,
and we're
we use the new trick.
Okay. We can touch upon that. Let's assume that will be nerfed and we can't do it anymore.
Okay. Yeah, I'm with you.
So we're in the top 100 clubs. I think we're like 80 something right now. All right. So let's assume in the next month, the top 20 can beat heroic raids. All right.
Okay.
In the next 3 months, the top 40. Realistically, about 6 months from now, top 100 will be doing it regularly.
Right. So you're looking at you and I will get this character in like 6 months.
I'm saying 6 to 9 months.
Wow. That's crazy.
And the odds are I will have quit the game by then. So I don't believe I will ever get this character. Oh, no. For those who have not figured it out, every week I debate about quitting this game. And if it wasn't for this channel and the enjoyment I have on bitching about the game, I would have already quit. So oddly enough, the terribleness and the horrible things that Glue does keeps me motivated to bash them and let you all know how much I dislike Glue. So
oh my God.
Don't look for logic in it. It's not a good system. So yeah, the odds are, and if anybody wants to take this bet, I'm willing to vote to offer up either gold or potions if Dan Cool wants to get involved, that I will never unlock Ursula.
Wow, that's crazy. Let me get back to why I brought this character up for a second. When Flotsam and Jetsam are killed, she cleanses all harmful effects and inflicts blinds on all opponents for 1 turn. That's pretty strong. What's interesting is Lumiere can completely counter getting blind with a full Beauty and Beast team if he's at level 4. So it's interesting to me that Lumiere is kind of built to counter at least part of Ursula's kit already.
Well, I think you have to. Because even though I just said we're not going to see Ursula anytime soon, I think everybody's taking one look at Ursula's kit and going, fuck. there's nothing even coming close to this thing. It's a gigantic mess. They've power creeped in year one. It's unbelievable. So I think they have to have some answer to her, even if she's not going to really come up on the average non-Kraken teams.
Well, yeah, I think at some point, I definitely want to do a theory craft of how we can start to look at her kit and maybe think of ways to shut this character down. But based on what you just told me, I don't really have to think about it right now because we're not going to start seeing her for another 3-4 months.
I know of 2 ways to shut this character down right now. Way 1, steal your parents' credit card, start spending its max limit. Question 2, and this will guarantee you will never have to worry about Ursula. Ursula will never bother you. You will never lose to Ursula. Quit the game. That way, problem solved. And it'll save you money, too, at the same time. So, like, I just literally saved you time and money. That's a double win.
That's terrible. I'm definitely more optimistic than you are. For sure. Oh, my God. That's
not really hard, because if you just hold any remote hope this game's going to be playable in 6 months, then you've already beat my optimism.
Dude, that's true. That's true. I was watching a Cozy Gamer video today, and he pointed out a team. This is the biggest disappointment in the raid right now, and I like the raid. I was disappointed that within a week 2 clubs could beat it. Now there's a lot of people out there like, yeah, if you have 60 tier 8 characters, you should be able to beat it. Well, I disagree, because power should not be the only major factor. Mechanics, ingenuity, solving a puzzle should at least be 50% of what you need to do to overcome a brand new mode like this, especially since the whole point was to become challenging to the upper tier. But I can accept that. I can accept that if you spend $50,000 at Disney Sorcerer's Arena, you have every right to beat this raid. Especially that it's going to take you till March to get Ursula anyway. Fine.
See, I actually do have an issue with that.
Okay.
Because if we compare to the Sith raid in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes, how long did it take even the most OP Krakens to beat that Sith raid? Just beat it. I'm
3
not
months.
even talking about...
3 months.
Exactly.
It took 3 months. And if you remember, when the first raid came out in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, the Rancor raid, nobody could beat it then either. And what happened was the level cap increased. You know what the problem is? I think Glue did things out of order. They, in the last 3 months, they brought out the tier 7.5 gear, and they raised the level cap from 60 to 70. It would have been better if they had released the raid and really made it extraordinarily difficult to beat. Because if all these super guilds were still capped at level 60 and couldn't get past tier 7, maybe they couldn't have used brute force to smash through the raid, even if you didn't know what the hell you were doing. So that...
Exactly.
I think if they had raised it and say, okay, now we're going to give you a little help beating the raid now that the level cap is higher, now that you have tier 7.5. But, I mean, I agree. I was very disappointed that anybody was able to beat it at all. I was disappointed that anybody could beat the raid at this point, because it really showcases strength over brains. That is essentially what it is.
No, Glue is prioritizing money over strategy.
But that's what I mean, because you can purchase strength in this game. You can't really purchase mechanics, theory crafting, problem solving, that's not something you can really use your credit card for. And that's what I think was firing up everybody at the idea of the raid. But I can accept that to a certain point. What I can't accept is what Cozy showed us, what I saw on his channel today, which was that there is a team that, through some diligence, can solo the entire raid. And that is exploiting. And, you know, if you think anybody who's played Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes remembers, like, when you used a built-up CLS in Han Solo, this is essentially the same mechanic going on, which is exploiting Tinkerbell, of all people, using her basic ability that when you have 30% chance to reduce the target speed meter, but if she has tactics, 100% chance. And if the opponent has fear, this can't be resisted. And then he's using Gantu's ability, which allows him to spam tactics on the whole team. And look, I'll give him some credit. The intelligent thing was making use of other characters like Merlin and Cobra and some others that exploit their capacity to not target the enemy, so that because the raid bosses have built into their kits when they're targeted that they gain speed meter. But if the only characters hitting a boss are, you know, Gantu with this ability, and, you know, you keep shadow copying all these tinks, and all the tinks are guaranteed to reduce his damage by 30%, you're just going to stop the opponents from going. It seems like, and it makes sense, the only phase that this is particularly tricky for is phase 2, because you're dealing with 2 different bosses. But it is absurd to me that this can be soloed 3 weeks after release.
You know what? I agree with you. I think it's terrible.
You don't even need the characters built up much. You really don't. As long as you meet the minimum requirements, you can do it.
But I will say this. I have been ranting since when we first started these videos that Glue does not do proper testing in any of their stuff. And whenever somebody points out going, hey, you fucked up, all of a sudden they go, oh, actually, no, I didn't. Nerf. Well, and they don't care what the after effects.
I'm not sure I agree. And the only reason I'm tempted to think that this might be by design, and then maybe they thought no one would figure it out. No one, and like, you know, maybe someone 6 months ago said, oh, Tink is rated the worst character in the game. Well, now we're going to have a plan so that she'll be like the best character in the game, like out of nowhere, because she'll be the linchpin.
No, but if you told me that it's exploiting Elsa, Dash, Baymax, I would say yes, they designed this because they want you more incentive to spend money. But there is no incentive to spend money on Tinkerbell right now. So therefore, I don't expect Tinkerbell to last like this more than another like 12 hours. I think they're going to rush out a fix as soon as humanly possible. Like they have somebody working overnight right now going, for the love of God, they're not spending enough money. We need to fix this.
Yeah, it's so beautifully said. Okay, no one can say it better than what you just said. I agree completely with what you're saying, but the only reason I was thinking this might be partially by design is because all of the towers that have been released since this game came out, beyond the Towers of Endurance, they're all oceanic-based characters. They're getting Gantu, they're getting Cobra, they're getting Stitch, they're getting Triton. All of these characters are very good in the raid. Stitch is like a counter machine. Triton and Ariel have built in their kits. Triton and Eric have built in their kits anti-raid synergy. Ariel is important for different parts of the raid. Cobra and Gantu are great. So all of the ocean, and you know, now Davy Jones is amazing. There's essentially, with the exception of Hook and Jack Sparrow, every single oceanic character has an extremely important part to play inside of this raid potentially. So it would be a weird coincidence that Tinkerbell also being oceanic was like the ultimate badass in beating this raid. It's like a bizarre thing that would be a coincidence. So that was the only reason I was thinking maybe this was intentional. But to your point,
Okay.
would they really do that if it didn't involve spending money? Like let's say if they made this ability her passive, like, oh, you need a tier 8 Tink in order to do it, or to tier 7 at least to get that a bonus. Like, okay, then it's like, okay, you have to have a massive investment in this character in order to do it. And who's tier 7 Tink? There's like maybe, a handful out there.
I agree. Could we take a timeout for a second? I got to be right back.
Sure. Hey, question. Seriously? Only because it's 9:52? Do you think it's going to be like 5 minutes or is it going to be like an hour and a half?
I got to go take a shit.
Oh, okay.
So, like the buffalo chicken just hit me.
I appreciate the fact that Cozy Gamer was able to put this team together and figure out this way to take down.
Oh, let's stop right there.
Okay.
Cozy definitely did not come up with this. Cozy's got a whole team of people that he's stealing from or borrowing from, whatever terminology you want to use. I mean, no disrespect to Cozy, but he does not look like he is the savant of team making. So just want to clarify that offhand.
Well, I will say this. I don't know one way or the other, but he does do a lot of testing, and he did play Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, and he did showcase to the world, either way, that this team that was able to take down the raid by themselves in heroic. The one thing I vehemently disagree with him about, for sure, is his potential fix. And he said, yeah, Google will fix it, or he may throw out some suggestions. And he started throwing out suggestions like nerfing or changing the kits of the characters. No, I'm sorry. You should not change the kits of the characters themselves. There is a fix to this, and it's a much better fix. It's more work, I'll grant you, for sure, but I think it's a much better fix. Do you remember the Rancor raid? One of the reasons the Rancor raid was soloable, playing pun, right? Han Solo, soloable. Okay, yeah, that's bad. One reason you could solo the Rancor raid was because you only have the one boss. So as long as you have this mechanic going of reducing speed meter, then you're good. What made the General Grievous raid that came later and the Sith raid very different from that was mainly the fact that there was more than one or two enemies on the screen. So take the Sith raid as the ultimate example. When you fight Nihilus, yeah, even if you could slow Nihilus down and do all this crazy stuff, you still had two other enemies on the screen who would respawn after getting killed that would come back. When you fought Darth Sion, there was, 3 or 4 other guys on the screen, and it just got crazier from there. So all they need to do in the raid is give Ursula a little bit of minion support. Make up whatever it is. Could be anything. But if you have to deal with other characters that could potentially hurt your characters or inflict debuffs or do other things besides Ursula herself or Glut the Shark or whoever, all of a sudden, a single team that can just reduce speed meter cannot just beat the raid without doing a dance and having to deal with other enemies. It'll take some time to fix. It might take glue a month or two, but as you just pointed out, it's going to take several months, 3 months, 4 months, just for Ursula to be unlocked, even if you're started beating her all the time right now. So even if they took a month and a half to fix this problem, if they do it properly, all of a sudden that window of getting Ursula is dragged out big time.
There's one easy way to fix this. Really, really simple. All you do is just put in a little mechanic on Tink's kit that says, this does not work with tactics, or this does not apply in raids. Simple as that.
I mean, I agree that would fix the problem, but I look at characters like Merlin and Tinkerbell, and they have literally nothing to offer in any other game mode. So why not make them the best at something in this game? So that's why I'm tempted.
Because I go back to the same thing. They can't monetize it in a way that makes it worthwhile. So what they'll do is they'll strip her kit, they'll create a new character and just essentially give the new character that ability and make that character cost $5,000 to get unlock at 5-star.
Yeah, but I don't think they mess with kits enough. And they always end up nerfing the worst characters in the game. Over and over.
No, they end up nerfing the characters that don't make the money. Because look, they even nerfed Big Bad Wolf. And Big Bad Wolf was a good character.
There's a lot to think about. I think if anybody in the comments has their own suggestions or can weigh in on this, we'd appreciate it, because I don't want Glue to unilaterally just decide to start stealing characters. Because I know, the people who might have just gotten that news and started tearing Tink up or spending all their currency and unlocking her and getting her up to 7 stars as fast as possible now. So I don't know.
No, plain and simple, this occurred because Glue dropped the ball. Now what Glue's going to do is they're going to scramble to find a way that it ends up in their best interest. Not the best interest of 99% of the player base, but best interest of their pockets and 1% of the player base. Because that's what they care about.
My thing is, the most harmful effect of all of this is not that you can unlock Ursula or get great gear. But all of a sudden, having a team that can potentially solo this raid makes it kind of boring. It's like, oh, we already know what the best is, and it works 3 weeks out. So you don't have to
but I called this
anymore. You don't have to theory craft.
I called this that Glue was going to drop the ball on this raid.
You did.
We have
quite a number of video evidence, quite a bit of video evidence to that effect.
They don't do proper work. They do just enough, and then they're like, all right, because we half-assed it, we'll half-ass the patches on the stuff that we really should fix, but we'll only focus on the stuff that will make us money. And if we screwed up on our money makers, we'll fix them. If we screwed up that negatively impacted our moneymakers, we'll just delete the character from the game that is hurting our moneymakers. I think there's a 50% chance that Tinkerbell is not in the game tomorrow.
She gets delete.
Exactly.
Okay, now we have a new character to reveal, but you have to jump to the next video to see who that is and the interesting story behind her journey.